recording as well. So calories are definitely not tiny little creatures in your wardrobe that are making your clothes tighter. Calories are a unit of energy that is contained within food, and our bodies break that energy down through various processes within the body. And this is kind of where the word metabolism comes from. So it's energy that our cells use to help us breathe, to allow our brain to function, to allow us to move and talk, and just do everyday activities. So it is the unit of energy provided within foods and drinks. A unit of energy is measured by how much heat it takes to raise a kilo of water by 1 degree Celsius. And that's kind of what you see on labels. So calories can be broken down into macros, micronutrients, and we can take supplements to help us get, hey Dawn, whatever we are lacking in our food. And I am a big fan of using the phrase, a calorie is just a calorie, because again, it's just a unit of energy that our bodies use, but not all foods are the same. So our bodies are going to break down different food types differently, and depending on your activity levels and your metabolism, you are also going to have different needs to anybody else. So calories are the same, but foods are not equal. Calories in food are broken down into 4 macronutrients. So we've got protein, fats, carbohydrates, and fiber, which is one that a lot of people will leave out, but it should really be treated as its own macro. Protein and carbs each have 4 calories in every gram within food. Protein is basically your building block, so it helps rebuild muscles and cells. It's what's contained in your lean body mass. It fills you up, and it helps you kind of recover and repair whenever you're ill or you're working out. And it is something that not a lot of us get enough of in our diets. Fats is another essential macro, and again, it's got a bit of a bad rap, but fats contain 9 grams in every 1 gram, and they help maintain your hormones, your skin, your hair, and keep your nervous system functioning as well as possible. And it also helps you absorb some vitamins and minerals too. So again, it's really important that you get that in your diet. Carbohydrates contain 4 calories in every gram. And it's really a quick source of energy for a lot of us. And again, it gets a bad rap, but it is something that we can use very easily to help us do our day-to-day jobs, do our day-to-day activities. It helps our brain function. Again, it's a quick and easy source of energy. And it shouldn't be avoided, especially if you work out quite a lot. Fiber is the 4th one that I like to discuss, because a lot of us don't get enough in our diets, especially if you're eating a lot of processed foods. Ideally, you're aiming to have at least 30 grams, but 20 to 30 plus grams is ideal. It's really important to help keep us regular. And it helps bulk out the stomach, and it slows down digestion of other macros. So when we eat fiber, it can slow down the breakdown of carbohydrates. So therefore, you're not going to have a massive increase of blood sugar in your system. And this can be gotten from your vegetables, fruits, and some whole grains. Alcohol, I've snuck in there because a lot of us do drink it. And when we're looking to lose fat, it's not something that you should avoid. When looking to lose fat, we should be looking for balance and some flexibility in there. It's all about enjoyment and making sure we can continue doing it so we can sustain it, maintain the weight that we do get down to. And alcohol has 7 calories in each gram. Now, it will vary from drink type But on average, if you are wanting to track your calorie intake, going off the 7 calorie mark will be ideal, and a gram would be a milliliter. There's no benefits to drinking alcohol other than it may relax you and make you feel good. It's very social and we just love it. Alongside macros within the calories and the foods that we've got micronutrients. These are the vitamins and minerals that our bodies need in order to be healthy. Whenever we lack in vitamins, we can start to become tired, our nails can become brittle. Again, a lot of you may kind of have some of the issues, especially if you're perimenopausal. So again, making sure that we've got a very wide selection of vitamins through our food is going to help make sure we've got optimal health. It's also good to keep our immune system functioning well. Sorry, I'm being distracted by my dog. So if you're consuming a balanced diet and you're being flexible with the foods that you're choosing, then you should have sufficient micronutrients in your body. If you're working inside quite a lot, then you could be lacking in vitamin D. We don't live in a very sunny country, so again, that is one of the vitamins that a lot of us are low in. If we don't tend to eat a lot of vegetables, we'll be missing a lot of our energy vitamins, which are your B complex vitamins. If you don't eat a lot of fruit, you could be low in vitamin C. And again, if you're not eating whole foods, then the minerals, again, will be low for us. So it's always advisable to make sure you've got a good variety of foods in your diet. And we're just going to run through those now. So vitamins. We've got fat soluble vitamins, which are vitamin A, which is important antioxidant in your body, and it helps maintain healthy eyes. This is also known as retinol. And again, these foods can be found in your oily foods. So think fish, olives, avocados, cheese. And again, if you're taking supplements, you need to make sure that one, it's either in a fat-based product if you're taking drops, or you eat it alongside a meal. Vitamin D is, again, I touched on that before, it helps your body absorb calcium and it's good for bone health. It is also known to improve your immune system and reduce fatigue and kind of brain fog. That usually is only absorbed from the sun via our skin, but we can take a supplement for that. Vitamin E is the next fat soluble vitamin. This is good for collagen in the skin, and also for your immune system. Vitamin K is the other one. Usually when we have children, they'll do the vitamin K one, and that's what kind of forms the blood clotting. Sorry guys, he's eating himself. So these are your fat soluble vitamins. Water soluble ones are normally what we get in either the effervescent capsules, vitamin C, and zinc is normally put in there as well. And taking these, if we take too many, then you'll obviously get bright orange urine, but it's basically what we can dispense through our natural bodily functions. They're not normally stored within the body, they're just kind of broken down in the foods that we eat. So again, if we consume plenty of fruit and vegetables regularly, then we shouldn't need to supplement. If you are somebody that does avoid eating those kind of food groups, then it may be a good idea to just think about how you feel, how you do cook your foods, maybe doing a test if you are having some symptoms, and then supplement that way. But don't just think that because you're not eating those foods that you need to take a supplement. Just try and look at an easy way to get it all in. Minerals are completely different to the vitamins, and they're usually in the soil from the foods that are grown there. Now, manufacturing of foods has kind of changed how much minerals we get. Farming practices are also reducing the amount of minerals we get because of the pesticides that are kind of used. So from the meats that we eat and the vegetables that we do consume, they would be in there, but again, that has reduced over the years. And again, they play a really important role in the body, and it helps build skin, nails, bones, and regulate blood pressure. Muscle cramps will be a big indicator of being low in magnesium and calcium. And again, it just helps you be a fully functioning human and looking good and feeling good. At the bottom there, I do say what supplements should we buy, and the only one I would recommend is vitamin D. None of us get enough of it. So again, it is one vitamin that would be highly recommended that you take if you are not getting outside in daylight, if you're stuck inside a lot of the time. Top it up. So next one here, I will give these slides to everybody here today, and I'll share that in the groups. But it just gives you a list of the vitamins and the minerals and where you can find them and what foods you can eat to make sure you're getting a good variety in your body. As I said, it's always better to eat whole foods and reduce processed, because that can influence how our bodies break those down and what we kind of keep in our stomachs as it's all broken down. Next one. Calories. Water is one that we lack. Yeah, as you can see there, Matt highly recommends vitamin D, especially for immune system. COVID, get it in, get out, keep active. Water, we can't survive without it. Again, our bodies are mostly water. I'm not a big water fan. I do struggle to drink. Kind of need a drink right now. I've got a dry mouth. But feeling thirsty or dehydrated means that has already taken place. So trying to prompt yourself to drink little and often throughout the day is going to make sure that your body has got plenty of fluids in order to function and feel its best. There is a small recommendation there, but again, it depends on what you do day to day. If you're somebody like me that doesn't drink a lot, I wouldn't recommend you go and drink 2.5 litres a day, because you'll probably find that you're going to be on the toilet all day peeing like a racehorse. That happens to me if I drink more than 2 cups of coffee. But aiming to put it into your day a little bit more frequently and remembering just to have a drink when you wake up is only going to make you feel better. So, has anybody got any questions on macros, calories, vitamins? Let me know. I will open up the chat. So if you open up your chat box, if we do questions there, just gonna have a little drink before we go to nutrition for fat loss. We'll come on to that in this next one. Okay, so nutrition for fat loss. Hopefully this will make it a little bit clearer as we go on and answer your questions too on how to count calories and whether it's needed. So for fat loss to happen, you need to be in a calorie deficit. A lot of the time we'll go, it's as easy as calories in versus calorie out. We are trying to get that balance in our favor for fat loss to occur. The ideal situation would be you using more energy during the day and not changing much else. A lot of people will change their diet, add in more exercise. Fat loss happens really quickly, but one of the most important things that a lot of people don't consider is whether you can keep doing it. So the slide, again, fat loss to happen, we need to be in a calorie deficit, and ideally you create that through your energy expenditure. Getting the balance right will mean you need to have patience and be consistent. That is going to determine how successful you are with fat loss. It's a complex thing for a lot of people. If you've got a lot of weight to use, there's many other factors that are a result of your fat gain. But doing something that is enjoyable and allows you to be consistent is going to tip that balance in your favor. When we diet, we shouldn't do it for too long, and it should be enjoyable. What you're aiming for is to lose that weight and then be able to maintain that and be flexible with your approach. Creating your calorie deficit can be done in a variety of ways, and the best one is always going to be to keep it simple and make it easy for you to do every single day. It needs to be considered as a new lifestyle and not just a phase or short-term thing in your life at this moment. You don't need to be in a calorie deficit every single day, but if you think week to week or over a couple of days that you are eating fewer calories or doing more to increase that calorie deficit, then you're going to see changes start to happen. And when you make it slow, you're going to be able to sustain it more often. Again, it's all about habits and behaviors, which we'll touch on in a couple of more slides. But creating that calorie deficit can be done by simple food or drink swap. So choosing the lower calorie options, or even going for the 0 calorie food and drinks. Checking your portions, which we'll cover in a minute. Keeping a check on what foods you are eating day to day. So this doesn't mean you need to do it every single day, but you can either just keep a food journal. So just write down the foods and the drinks that you are eating. When you do that, you do need to keep a note of any sauces that you have alongside your meals and gravies, because those calories will add up as well. Be more active, adding in some physical exercise, and then you've got measuring and calorie counting, which is your tracking apps like MyFitnessPal. With those apps, though, there is a massive margin of error because you can't guarantee what somebody has entered in, and there is again, it can be as much as 25% off, which isn't going to be in your favor. So learning to read your food labels and understand what you're kind of eating yourself when you serve your meals, and kind of focus on how you feel when you do eat those meals is going to help you put yourself in a maintainable calorie deficit. For fat loss to happen, you need to know where you're at, what you need, and how you can kind of make it happen. There's a couple of acronyms that get thrown around a lot if you follow people that talk about calorie deficits and fat loss, body transformations. And again, you are looking for balance. Calories that our bodies need, we have a basal metabolic rate, which is what our bodies will need just to stay in bed all day, to breathe, to do absolutely nothing, like you're literally stuck in your bed, be in a coma. Then we've got NEAT, which is the energy that our bodies need just to do day-to-day activities like getting out of bed, having a shower, brushing your teeth, going shopping, walking the dog, fidgeting, talking, moving your hands, flicking your hair. This is just general day-to-day activities. Then you've got TEF, which is the energy needed in order for your body to break down and process the foods that you eat. And each food will have a different energy effect as it breaks down, but that doesn't mean there's any free foods. Then we've got PA, which is something that's included when we do calorie calculators. So it's physical activity. So when you find out what your BMR is, we usually multiply it by your physical activity levels to determine your total daily energy expenditure, which is your TDEE. And this is what our bodies need to do everything we demand of it, including all the crazy exercise that you do. My dog's now frustrated. So I want to take a little bit of time now for you all to figure out what your body needs. Okay. So there are a lot of calculators online. I do like to keep it simple because I do find keeping it simple means you can do it more often. So let's, I'm going to unmute you all. Oh my goodness. Bruce, please. I'm going to unmute you all and we're going to just do a little multiple. Bruce. Oh. So let me unmute. So you can all unmute yourselves. And I want us all to figure out our calorie needs, so your BMR, and then what your total daily intake should be. I'll also open up that chat room again.
Body weight in kilos or pounds, Vic?
Yeah, so we'll do body weight in kilos. So if you scribble that down. So this is a slide which shows my one. So I weigh 73 kilos at the moment. So I would multiply that by 22. Guys, you multiply that by 24. And then you'll see the activity, physical activity multiplier here. So if you do no exercise, I want you to multiply that figure by 1.2. 1 to 3 days. You'll see it just here. So your BMR will be your body weight in kilos multiplied by 22 for females, 24 for males. So my total daily energy expenditure at the moment, because I'm working out 3 to 5 days a week, I wouldn't consider it extreme, but I am lifting weights and being a little bit active. My multiplying factor is 1.55. So that gives me a total daily energy expenditure. Again, this is just estimates of 2,489 calories. So if I wanted to maintain the weight that I am right now, not change anything else, not lose any weight, I would be looking to eat that amount of calories day to day. Our bodies are not these numbers, our bodies do not work by these figures, but it gives you a starting point. It gives you something to focus on and be aware of. So again, if I do nothing at all, but just sit around and watch Netflix, I'm probably just going to want to eat closer to my BMR.
I'm just about to leave, Dee, because I'm about to go into a live Q&A.
See you later, Dawn.
Bye, guys.
So has everybody worked out their BMR?
Yeah.
And then calculated their daily energy expenditure?
Yeah.
Okay. So the lowest I'd want to take my calorie intake day to day would be my BMR, and I wouldn't even want to get it that low, but if I'm not feeling 100%, then I'm probably not going to eat much anyway. The highest I'd ever want to take it, again, depending on the activities that I would do, would be hitting what my output came at, or increasing it to match my activity levels or hunger levels. So those numbers are always going to change depending on what you do, the activity that you're doing, and the weight that you are at. It's also going to be influenced by the fat percentage on your body and lean body mass. So it's not a number that's always going to stay the same, which is why it's more important not just to constantly focus on a particular number, but just use it as a starting point, something to refer back to, so you can kind of get yourself back on track. I really do encourage people not to live by numbers. It's just a general guide. So if anyone's got any questions, pop it in the box and we'll move to the next slide. Okay. Okay, lovely. So diet myths is the next one. And again, a lot of this causes confusion. I think all the slimming clubs and the Herbalife people all make it really confusing. And so do a lot of PTs and people on social media. And I threw that picture in because it made me laugh. Because again, nothing is bad. There are no restrictions in foods that you can or can't eat. It's again how you feel and making sure that it just aligns with your goals. So some of the myths that I come across and see a lot of people talk about is times that you eat, certain food groups making you gain weight, foods or the time of day that you eat helping to speed up your metabolism, drinking cold water or drinking water being a way to boost your metabolism, foods or supplements, cleaning your insides out, putting in food restrictions, focusing on classes, shakes. Food intolerance is a new one as well, being a reason why you can't lose weight. And then again, you've got the best diets. And then now I've put insert other BS you have been told. For fat loss to happen, you need to be able to put your body into a calorie deficit through moving or through just reducing the amount of food that you eat. Whichever diet you choose, it's going to work because it does put your body into a calorie deficit, because usually it eliminates certain food groups or gets you to eat within a particular window of time. The questions you need to be asking yourself is, can you stick to it? Are you enjoying it? Are you counting down the days until you finish? Do you have cravings? Are you always feeling hungry? Are your bowels irregular? Is it impacting your sleep? Are you feeling like shit? So we can discuss diets a little bit more. If you have any questions on the diets that you have done, I'll just move that out of the way. Again, some other things that we've seen, again, I pulled this off the internet because, again, it's something that does get bandied about, telling people that certain food groups are to blame, but you're the one that's to blame. Because if you're eating more than what you need and not doing enough activity, then you're the one that is going to be putting yourself at risk through being overweight, gaining weight, causing ill health, aches and pains. Again, if you're not active, you're the one that's responsible. Any questions on all that before we move on to portion size and servings, which will help answer Sue's question, I hope, about counting calories? Any questions? No. Awesome. So portion size and servings. I love this image because everything has changed over the years and our servings are getting bigger and bigger. And we fall into the habit of just eating whatever's there. Now, we've just got out of Christmas, and anybody that's had the selection boxes, I'm sure you've all found yourself sitting there eating them and not even realise how many you've eaten until you've seen all the wrappers in that tub. Portion versus a serving. A serving is typically what we are given and what's recommended on your food labels. And you'll see that to the left. That's not always easy for people to interpret, because usually it's either done by 100 grams or it's just telling you how many people it serves, and then you're having to kind of figure out what that actually looks like. And without getting out the scales, you're never really gonna kind of know. So we often refer to portions because that is typically what people actually eat. If you've ever eaten a tub of ice cream, your portion would be whatever you eat in that moment. A serving is going to be what is recommended and given in the calorie breakdown. If you're like me, you'll probably get through nearly a whole tub, which adds up. So again, this comes into the whole, how are you feeling when you're eating and what are you actually paying attention to? So how can we know what to eat and how much of a food that we need to eat and still achieve our goals? I covered this in my last talk, and it just highlights how we fall into the habit of just eating without paying attention. We are just doing things without thinking. If you've ever eaten a load of food when you've gone to the cinema, you'll probably get through that bag of sweets or the popcorn. Probably didn't really enjoy it, but it just goes to show how important it is to kind of pay attention to what you are doing in that moment. Over the years, our plates have gotten bigger. The bottles and the packets that we eat from have gotten bigger as well. I just want you to take a look at those plate sizes there. Again, I've pulled this image from the internet, but plate sizes have gotten bigger, and we fall into the habit of filling our plates. One tip I gave to clients last time was not filling it to the rim, but filling it on the inside of that dinner plate. On most plates, you will see an inside square or circle if you've got square plates. So ideally, you are putting your food portions within that area and not filling it right to the edge and piling it all up. Just by looking at those plate sizes, you could be getting as much as 1,100 calories extra in every meal if you look at the 1960s dinner plate and the plate that you would typically get in 2009. I'm not actually sure if those plates have got any bigger. As I said, that image was pulled from the internet. So what is the best option for you to make sure you're getting a sufficient amount of macros and micros in your meals, and also working towards your fat loss goals or your daily calorie intake? Handy guide. Again, I can send this individually, but I kind of adapt this one a little bit. I maybe should do my own hands, but portion for males and females, just take a look at your own hand. Your protein at every meal should be the palm of your hand. I think the other one was using a deck of cards, and that's really small. I never actually eat a chicken breast that small or steak. For me, vegetables, I would use both hands. I'm kind of filling it out on the plate, so that's going to take about half of my plate up, and you can make it even smaller. For this image, they've done a fist size. So again, what you're looking for is when you eat is to just feel full and not stuff yourself. Fats, tip of your thumb, and that's going to be really hard to measure. So you could use a teaspoon or a tablespoon. If you're going to add oils and dressings to any foods, go for one of those tools. It's going to be easy for you. And then with your pasta, rice, chips, any of your carbohydrates, you're looking at, I normally go fist. For there, they've got like a cupped hand. Another image would be a tennis ball size. So if you've ever been to a fancy restaurant and you've had one of those fancy little metal tubs tipping up your rice, it's not actually a lot. But if you get a takeaway, you get a nice massive container which fills the plate. That's probably going to be 3 portions there for you. But again, how much of that food you eat is something that you can be in control of, and you are in control of it. So let's move on to the next slide. This is where mindful eating comes in. So without tracking and weighing and measuring any foods and putting what you eat into any of these fancy apps, if you learn to pay attention to what you're eating, how you feel when you eat that food, and how you feel whilst you're eating that food, is going to help you reach your goals. The image that I've got is from mindful eating. Is a doctor that does this for women to help, and men to help with emotional eating and just maintaining their fat loss goals. But it's just about paying attention. It's being aware of why you're eating, when you're eating, what you're eating, how you are eating. So again, think of the environment that you're in, how much of that food you're eating, and where your attention's going whilst you are eating. Now, the how and the where is basically, where are you at any given moment when you are eating your food? Are you sitting at your work desk? Are you sitting in front of the TV? Are you watching a movie? Are you at a party or a social event? I know that's not going to happen for a while, but if you're eating around other people or watching something or being distracted and not putting your full attention into it, then you're not really going to be aware of how much food you're going to put into your body. So understanding the physical signs of your hunger and separating that from your emotional hunger is going to help you achieve your fat loss goals. A lot of us do eat to comfort ourselves and nourish. We do it to relax of an evening. We do it out of habit. So again, understanding your feelings and emotions is going to help you reduce the amount of food you eat without having to track or measure. Really useful tool that I gave everybody last time, and it does have a lot of success with clients, is slowing down when you do eat. If we take our time and we remove all distractions and putting down your knife and fork between every mouthful, you're going to have a lot more enjoyment from it. You're going to allow your body to process each mouthful better, and it's going to give your brain and your stomach enough time to tell you when actually it's had enough and you need to stop. Please don't squeeze any more into me because I'm going to bust. And then with mindful eating, they add in using your senses. So how does the food look? How does it smell? What's the texture like? How does it taste in your mouth? There's a really useful mindful eating exercise with a raisin. I can share that. I have shared it before. But it does really go beyond the food that you're eating at every given time. It applies to what you do throughout your day. So speaking to people, how you approach your job, try not to let people get your emotions up and ranting. So eating isn't a means to an end, and there shouldn't be any judgment. You shouldn't be criticizing yourself when you do eat something. There shouldn't be any negative words associated with the foods that you eat or where you eat and when you eat. It should just be because your body needs it, you're enjoying that food, and then move on from that. So learning to do that is really difficult for a lot of people if they do struggle. Does that make sense with everybody so far? I'll let you write it in the comments. Mindful eating. Do all of you eat fast? Where do you typically eat? Paying attention to all those things. And this is where I like to apply the hunger scale. Because when we eat the meals, whilst we are checking in why we're eating, so again, are you eating because you're stressed? Are you eating because someone's pissed you off, or are you actually eating because you are hungry? And then slowing down and taking your time, because no one's going to take your food away from you. You're not stuck in a prison. You're not going to get mugged for your food, Simon. Slow down. It's enjoyment. And I think sometimes when we eat fast, we're not actually paying attention to it. So this is where it comes into our state of mind and our parasympathetic and sympathetic system. So we've got our rest and digest is your parasympathetic state. Sympathetic is when you're just stressed out and you've got shit to do and you're kind of rushing around. If you eat in a fast way, you're probably not going to digest that food as well as you could. So do try and just slow down a little bit. I'm not saying set a timer, but again, this is where the whole chew your food 20 times comes in. Placing down your knife and fork between each mouthful, it's just allowing your stomach and your brain to register that actually we've eaten enough, can you stop? The hunger scale is a good one alongside the mindful eating, and this, it does help people eliminate the whole, oh, I need to weigh this, I can't eat that. It's eat what you want, but understand why you're eating. If we allow ourselves to go outside of the 4, 5, 6, 7, we're more likely to eat everything in sight. So if you've ever gone shopping when you're hungry or got home and raided the kitchen cupboards, you've allowed yourself to go too long between meals. So your brain is just naturally signaled without you even thinking to go and eat because it needs energy, and you are not going to register what you've eaten or how much of that food that you have eaten. If we over the 7 mark, so this is where, ladies, these leggings come in really handy, or you're having to undo your button. You may need to sit back and just lay down because you've stuffed yourself and it's kind of uncomfortable. If you've ever eaten so much, you kind of feel it sitting right at the top of your throat. So a burp could be very dangerous. The hunger scale is a good tool to eat alongside the mindful eating. So back to your question when we were covering calories, paying attention to the portions you're eating. So that's the amount of food that you're putting on your plate and actually physically eating alongside the hunger scale. So checking in with your emotions and how you physically feel when you do eat is probably going to help you give your body just what it needs and help you lose weight. How's that one for everybody? Hunger scale is a good one. I do like that one. Do any of you do it? I'm a fast eater. I've had to learn this year to slow it down because there's always loads of stuff for us to do. So it is a good one. So things for you to remember from the information that we've covered is understand why you're choosing the foods that you are. And again, this comes down to your emotional state as well. Be aware of the foods that you are choosing. So again, it's not a case of you can never eat something, you don't need to eliminate foods, but it's just be aware of it and understand why you're choosing that food and then just accept it. Eat until you're 80% full. This is a really good one because, again, going on the hunger scale, you are paying attention to how your body actually feels. So it is a good one for everybody to remember every time you eat a meal. And I'm not saying every meal, but if you just try and do it for at least 1 meal a day, you may kind of have a light bulb moment and go, yeah. No distractions, so no TV, no phones, no sitting at your computer, because that work can wait. You are more important and you need to kind of allow your body to enjoy that food, to be able to digest it and to pay attention to it. If your mind is elsewhere, you're probably going to be a little bit anxious or feeling a little bit stressed. So just chill out, just allow yourself to eat that food. And then portion sizes, so downsizing, and this comes down to the eat until you're 80% full. But if you're somebody that likes buying the share bags of foods, or you've still got those tubs of chocolates around the house, just give yourself a couple a day. Don't eat it all. If you're getting a takeaway, it's probably going to be more than what you need. reducing that portion size and maybe saving some for another day. So for your breakfast or your lunch the next day. And yes, you can eat anything you want for breakfast. It doesn't have to be cereal or eggs. You can eat a pizza or a curry. It's a meal. So remembering those things will hopefully help you get some results without tracking. It's going to allow your body to get what it needs and get sufficient servings without worrying about it. If you're going by the hand sizes and you're remembering to get at least 2 meals with the vegetables and eating some fruit during the day, you're probably going to cover your fiber and your vitamin needs. If like me, you're going to need to supplement. Hopefully that's sunk in with everybody. And now we're going to go on to habits, behaviors, and thoughts. And I love that image. It did make me laugh. So again, what you think you're doing, you're probably not most of the time, because over years, our brain has developed shortcuts and easier ways to do things. And we've kind of been influenced by families, friends, our parents, social media. So a lot of what we do is because of what we've been taught, what we believe, and just our bodies doing it naturally. I don't even need to think about how to make a cup of coffee anymore, because I know I can get to work without even paying attention to the roads, because I've done that route so many times. But yeah, so hopefully that's kind of gone, oh, actually, yeah. So everything we do is because of our habits. Our habits are our behaviors, what we think, what we believe, how we act, how we talk. Again, it's something we've learned over time. How we react to situations, how we respond to situations and people, the choices that we make is because of what we've learned. And then it's all determined over time and ingrained into our brain, hence like little neuron image in the background. So a habit is formed by us having a cue, which signals to our brain to actually take action and do something. By doing something, we are given a response and a reward, and it kind of goes round in a loop, and then it just becomes a habit that maybe doesn't help you achieve your goals. I'm a big procrastinator, so when I've got a job to do, if my head's not in it, I'll often get distracted by my phone. So if my phone is in sight, that is going to be a cue for me to look at it or check it. If the phone brings up a notification, I'm going to see it, and I've got an urge not to do my work for whatever reason, and I'm kind of picking up my phone just to check who's messaged me or who's responded. And again, that response and the reward, the pleasure that we get from that is just a little bit of a dopamine hit. You know, someone is sending me something, I want to know what it is. You know, it's either going to make me feel good or it's going to make me feel bad. But again, determine on what we do, the same applies to food. So it's understanding why you eat. When we're having cravings, it's understanding why we're getting that craving and whether that's a natural response to an emotional or stress situation. And then how we respond to that craving will determine the reward that we get. So it's either going to help us or inhibit us. Picking your nose, I had to throw that one in again, a little bit of humour. So change for a lot of people only happens when we start doing things differently to what we do day to day. If it's something that we don't like, that is going to be hard for us to do. As I said before, it's formed and ingrained and developed over years, decades. It starts mostly from childhood, and we just keep learning new things. We keep doing new things, or we stop picking our nose because it's disgusting. Use the earbuds instead. So to change the habits that we've got, the habits that we don't like, the habits that we want to change, you need to understand and identify what actually happens for you to do that thing. So what's taking place for you to do the habit, the behavior that you want to stop? And why are we doing it? We don't often do things because we hate it. We do it because it makes us feel good. And it's literally just pleasurable. I was going to say something really rude then, but I'll stop myself. So we need to be aware of positive and negative reinforcements that kind of get us to do things, and then learning to take a moment and stop to think and pay attention so we can make more rational choices. Because our brain, again, it's just going to make us do things that gets that instant reward. And when we apply this to food, if you ever sit and work, so Matt, this would be a good one for you as well, doing a stressful job where you're always on the go, when your body and your brain gets tired and it wants energy, it's going to get you to crave high sugar, fatty foods. This will be your donuts, your cakes, your chocolates, anything that you can quickly grab and go, get functioning with. Crisps. Means your body's getting instant energy. That's what your brain is telling your body to do. It's asking you to seek energy so it can continue helping you do the job that you need to do. And it isn't until you kind of say, okay, I need to stop and make sure I've got something a little bit better that's going to help my body and my brain function for a little bit longer, rather than just eating for the empty calories like the crisps and not actually feel as good as you could for your day. So on the next slide, I'm going to ask you to try and identify the cues, and you don't need to do this now, but it would be good if you could do at least one. Try and think of a cue, so something that triggers you to do something that you don't want to do, that you would like to change. Fancy little images here, look. So again, habits go through 4 stages. So you need to think of the trigger, the cue that prompts you to want to do something, which is the craving. It's asking you to take action, to do something, to respond, to then get the pleasure, the reward from it. So again, this is what forms behaviors, and the only way for us to change our behaviors or our habits is to identify at least one of those things so we can kind of eliminate it. And Sue, if I remember rightly, your downfall was biscuits and the biscuit barrel. So again, is your cue when you're stressed, you need to distract yourself, and the only thing that brings you pleasure, so you're looking for number 4, the reward, is to eat some biscuits, because that takes you away from the situation. It is as simple as that. Some other ones here. So if I want to be more productive with work, I need to get, my phone needs to be in another room, and I need to set myself a time frame to do my work. So if it's PC work, I can't have other distractions. All my notifications need to go off. It is a good one. But again, if you've got habits and behaviors that you want to change, that you feel are sabotaging your goals and aren't helping you get to where you want to be, then you need to figure out what triggers that for you and what it is you're trying to look to achieve from it. Again, everybody is going to get these slides, so don't worry, you don't need to do it all now. But building better habits, making it obvious. We need to do something easy so it's there for us to do without having to think about it too much. So if I need to drink more water, the easiest thing that I can think of right now is I'm going to have a bottle by my bed. So when I wake up, I take a drink, and I'm just going to do that every single day for a week. Then it should slowly start to ingrain, and a new behavior never happens that quickly. But by just doing that, hopefully it becomes something I do without having to think too much about it. That cue is just going to take me straight to the response that I need. It's making it easy for me. The reward is I'm just getting more water, because for my body to function better, I need more water. Boredom is another one, and that is more difficult. And this is where we need to dig a little bit deeper. So is it a case that you're bored, or are you missing something or someone? I mean, you know, there's a lot of Netflix programs. So is it a case of you actually just can't sit on your own and watch a movie, because you have an ingrained behavior, an ingrained habit of having to eat something when you are switching off and sitting down and watching TV. Because if that's what you're doing, then you're not actually paying attention to actually what's on the screen or eating. You're just falling into an old habit, and it's not actually satisfying for you, because it's probably going to make you feel a little bit miserable, because it wouldn't be a problem otherwise. So you need to think of a way to make eating at 9 p.m. and satisfying. And you could quite easily tell yourself that if you keep doing it, you're just going to keep getting fatter and you're not going to lose the weight that you want to lose. If that's not unsatisfying to you, then what can you do to make sure that actually what I do at 9 o'clock when I'm sitting and watching telly is going to actually help me relax, going to feel good, you're going to sleep better, and you're going to lose weight. Habits and breaking the behavior. Again, we have just kind of spoken on all that, but you are looking to eliminate what triggers you to do what you don't like doing. Reducing the cravings, so you don't experience the motivation to do what's sabotaging your effort. So if you're eating poorly during the day or not eating enough in order for your body to function, you're going to get cravings, because your brain is telling you it needs some food, it needs energy. You need to make sure it's aligning with the goals that you've got. So if you're always feeling hungry, this is either going to be out of a routine of your body being used to the times of the day that you eat. So if you're a grazer or you eat at consistent times during the day, and then you want to lose weight, you'll probably find that your body signals a cue for you to eat at those times you would normally eat some food. But are you actually hungry, or is it just a case of actually it's a habit because you've always eaten at those times and you've changed it because you're looking to lose weight? It's a little bit harder to make the behavior difficult, so you can't do it. But if you take my example of removing the phone, it's not there to distract you. So you're not going to see notifications going. If it's a case of you're eating when you're bored, then are you actually bored, or is there another emotion that's going on that you just think you're bored? If you are really bored, then do something that's not boring. So think about what things you enjoy and what excites you. If watching the telly is boring, read a book, colour in, draw, watch a hobby, listen to some podcasts, do something that kind of stimulates your brain and doesn't make you feel bored. Making sure that that reward, so whatever the behavior that you're choosing to do, whatever action you are taking, make sure it doesn't actually bring you any pleasure. So make it horrible, make it disgusting. Put loads of salt on the food. Breaking habits is bad. It's never going to be easy. But you are looking just to change one thing at a time. Ideally, you want to change the first 3 things, but just make a simple little cue so you take the better behavior. So think about those. Yeah, procrastination, that's a big one for me as well. For me, I think that would be another kind of talk. But what I like to think about is, if I don't do the jobs or the tasks that I've got to do, what's the consequence of that? Is it something urgent? Is it a priority to get that work done? And if not, when could I do it? If it can wait, then it can wait. Nothing needs to be done immediately. And it's about prioritizing your time and your productivity levels. And this is a totally different subject, but our bodies have sleep-wake cycles, and it has activity cycles too. So when we feel alert and energized, it's identifying those times of day when you can pay the most attention and get your jobs done. But it's also understanding what's important to you right now, what needs to get done for your business, for your personal life, and what can wait. Leave all the little things and focus on one of the big things, and then do all the little things when it doesn't occupy too much of your brain. And if the task bores you, question whether you actually want to do that job. So some common triggers, let's just keep it at triggers, that cause people to eat or procrastinate will be arguments, stress, breakups, long drives. Again, Matt, this might be a big one for you if you're always in the car. Birthdays, summer days. Oh my God, I'm so depressed right now. Friday nights out, eating out. None of those things we can do anymore. And then tiredness. You know, a lot of us ignore the tiredness and will eat rather than just going, I need to have a little nap or I need to go to bed. Paying attention to all those triggers that would ultimately cause you to eat when you are not physically hungry or in a need for food are the things that you need to pay attention to. These are the things that trigger you to eat food to help you feel a little bit better. Most people that are depressed probably eating high sugar content foods just because, you know, chocolate, crying, ice cream. I think that's a standard in movies, isn't it? A tub of ice cream when they're feeling sorry for themselves. We've all done it. Drinking alcohol. What's the point? So again, just being aware of all these things will hopefully help you implement the mindful eating, the mindfulness, the hunger scale, and just making sure you're eating because you are hungry and you need those nutrients and that energy rather than eating to hide away from your boredom, your emotional or stressful situations. And it's important just to deal with those as they are. Allow them to be there. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Write them down if you need to, let them pass. Then make a decision. Try not to react. So that brings us to the last slide, and then I will open it for a Q&A because I am aware that is a lot of information, but implementing those things one at a time is going to help you achieve your goals. Making a plan and making it simple and an effective way for you to achieve those goals. And I would always do it, set yourself a weekly target. And within that week, set yourself one thing to focus on every single day. You can do a couple of things. So I wouldn't do more than 5 because that can be quite overwhelming. But if it was to, for example, drink more water, eat more vegetables, stick to the hand portion sizes, and let's just throw in be more active. They're kind of open-ended things. So we want to make it really simple. So it'd be every day I'm going to drink a glass of water in the morning. If I do that 3 days out of 5, brilliant. This is where we're implementing skills and tools to help us achieve it and not make it a massive target where it's just unachievable. With the hand portion sizes, instead of saying all my meals are going to contain the serving sizes that I should be eating to help me achieve my goals, aim to do it in at least 1 meal a day. And you can measure that as well. Increasing activity, go for a walk every single day. Doesn't mean exercise, but it just means get those steps in. Just be more active than you are sitting down all day. That's going to help you increase your energy output. So it will help you put your body into a calorie deficit. So again, make it simple when you make a plan, and you'll be more likely to stick to it. And it's not a case of getting 10 out of 10 or 100%. It's 80%, 70%. It's doing as much as you can when you can and making it easy for you to do it. Be aware of your thoughts and feelings. So checking in with your emotions and what's actually going on when you do go to eat. Checking how hungry you are before you eat. Slowing yourself down and then making sure you stop before you are full is going to help you make better choices, implement new behaviors to help you have better habits, and ultimately help you lose weight. Surrounding yourself with people that support you is another thing as well. So it's not just people that are going to help you achieve those goals, but it's keeping yourself connected to people that give you that information and help you have clarity on doing things better and giving you the information that you need. So people like myself, coaches at the gym, people that give out valuable content, friends and family. If anybody's going to pressure you or give you negative information and support, get rid of them. You don't need to be engaging with people like that whilst you're trying to work towards your goals. So make sure that whatever you do aligns with what you want to do and the goals that you want to achieve. If you get into the thinking that nothing is possible, then switch it, because anything is possible. You can do it all. You can achieve your goals as long as you're doing all the things that help you get there. It's not going to be quick, but you will get there. And making it something that you can do every single day is the best way to do it. Always make the right choices for yourself. So hopefully by putting into practice what I've spoken about today will help you keep it really simple without having to get your scales out or tracking down loads of food, but just keep it simple. Keep a food diary written, pay attention to what you're doing when you do eat. It's going to make sure that it's more sustainable to you, and then it becomes just a way of your life. It becomes a new behavior. It becomes a habit for you. Eat for your body and for the goals that you demand of it and you want from it. Eat because you're hungry and because you want to eat something, not because you're feeling emotional or stressed. Always eat without any negative feelings. So, you can't criticize yourself after you've eaten something, because the choice is always yours. If you've done something that you don't like, there's no point beating yourself up about it. It's a case of just accepting that it's happened, doing something different the next time you have that situation. So again, identify why you actually made that choice. Acknowledging your emotions, letting them pass, writing them down, just dealing with them and understanding, okay, why am I actually feeling like this, is going to help you make better choices. And exercising because you know it's good for your body and it's going to help you, rather than because you feel it's something that you have to do. Always look for the enjoyment in whatever you do. That means you've got to try lots of things. It all comes down to trial and error. But if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to stick to it. You're going to find it boring. It's going to stress you out. You're going to fall off the wagon and you're going to be back to square one. So take your time and just remember that it's never going to be impossible. You may go back a couple of steps, but you'll always be able to keep moving forwards. So that is the end of that slide. And if you want to, you can end video. We can ask questions, you can get on. So now is just time to talk. If there's anything I haven't covered.
That was really good, Dee.
Thanks, Di. I got distracted with the dog and I was like, oh my God. There's a comedy moment and I feel like I've got to do the video all again.
I had visions of him actually cutting you off. He was skipping through the slides, but I thought at some point he's going to cut you off.
I thought he was going to climb onto the table.
No, really interesting, especially the bit about habits. It's yeah, when you actually start thinking about it, it's amazing how you can relate to so many things of that. Especially, yeah, like you said, the procrastination one's come up a bit. I think we're all guilty of that at some point, no matter what, even if it's not to do with, tasks or whatever else. But I mean, for me, I'm a grazer. I'll try and eat 3 meals a day, but I'm guilty of just snacking as well in between. So it's, not so much sweet stuff. I'll eat the sweet stuff, no problem at all. But God, especially over Christmas, it was like crisps, nuts, cheese, crackers, all that sort of stuff. And it's because it's there. That's, now the house is pretty empty again now, so it's not so bad. But then, you think, well, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah, I think that's what we all need to remember. It's when, again, that's what we'd consider celebrations and social events. It's going to happen, and it doesn't mean that you can't just enjoy those foods. But one thing that I try and get my clients to understand is we're the ones that are buying that food, or if we're going around to somebody else's house when we can. Oh my God, it's so depressing that we can't. But we're the ones that are buying it. And then it's the question of, well, out of all those foods, what is it that you can't eat throughout the year? What is it about those foods that you can't have in the week, and why are we kind of buying it all? And I think this comes down to childhood, what we did as kids, what our families did, and it is a social human engagement, and it is that pleasure that we all get, and we associate those times with the feelings that we had when we were growing up. So, you know, I know I've spoken to Dawn about it, but for you guys, it's, you know, what is it about that time? So what is it about Christmas that gives you those happy memories and instant pleasure? Because that's what we're going to be looking for. That's what we're seeking out when it comes to behaviors and habits. And it's, so what was there when you were growing up, or what wasn't there? What did you make a big fuss about? And then it's like, do you really need to eat it all? And then it's just finding ways to just put that into your day. And it's not to say, no, don't eat it, but it's almost become an excuse to stuff ourselves, make ourselves feel sick. And then January comes around and it's like, oh, people are full of regret and guilt. And it's like, well, you bought it, you ate it, you went round there, you had a choice. And it's not,
yeah.
I think there's
I'm sure I saw something over Christmas maybe about the supermarkets are being asked to either stop or drastically reduce this buy one get one free promotion, because that's been linked as well at the minute. And I think that's probably another one as well, that when we go shopping, there's the old story, you know, don't go shopping on an empty stomach, because you end up even if you go with a list, you'll end up buying, oh, that looks good, oh, we'll have one of them, and suddenly you end up with all this extra food in the house that you never really intended to before you set foot in the supermarket. But yeah, this getting 2 or 3 or something just because it's on offer, or, you know, there's a promotion, you know, that's fine if you was to still use that over the same period, you know, one a month or whatever you want to do. But if you because you've got 3 tubs of Quality Street in a house because they were on offer, you know, does that mean that you've got to eat all 3, you know, before you next go shopping? And I think, you know, that is, I don't know, Christmas is probably a bad time of the year to compare it for me, because I think, if we're all honest, we all kind of let ourselves relax a bit at that time anyway. But it's whether that then rolls into January and even further, you know, January becomes February. And at the moment, it's, you know, it's like the perfect storm with everything that's going on at the minute. You could fully sympathise with people just turning to food as like that comfort blanket.
Yeah.
But it's whether you know, if you haven't got an issue with that, fine. But if you're suddenly aware that, you know, you're perhaps piling on the weight more than you would do normally, maybe it's time to stop and, like you say, start looking at other things, what's causing you to do this. But yeah, that for me was a really interesting part of that bit about the habits. It's and it just shows how much this bit here influences what we actually put here.
Yeah, and that's where the mindfulness comes in as well, because again, when I first learned it, it was all like, oh, it's really hippie-ish, but you can apply it to shopping as well. So if you pay attention when you're shopping, if you question yourself when you're looking at those things, like, do I need it? Do I want it? Will I enjoy it? You're probably more likely to ignore it. But if you go in that tunnel vision, you're buying shopping, you're walking around the aisles, you're just picking up whatever, putting it in, oh, that'd be nice, oh, that's cheap, oh, it's 2 for 1, oh, alcohol is on discount, it's buy 6 bottles for the price of 3 or whatever, you are more likely to buy it. But if you actually take a little moment to go, actually, do I need it? You know,
it's really interesting actually, because you touched on something there about mindfulness when we shop, but I think the reverse is true as well, that supermarkets employ so much psychological techniques with how they put products on the shelves and where they put them in the stores. It's almost like coming right back at you without you realizing it. And simple little tricks like what products they put at eye line down the aisles, where they put the promotional stuff, is it right as you walk in the store? I mean, like Tesco's, Jesus, you walk in and you literally met with a wall of stuff that's like, you know, buy one get one free, or buy 3 get another, all this sort of stuff. Literally you've walked in the store like 3 feet and it's there. And then if you look then around the store, all the aisles, all the products that are, you know, the ends of aisles and everything else, it's right in your eye line all the time. And if you're not maybe in that mindset of just sticking to what you want to get and getting out again, you can see how easy it is for people to just pick up stuff that they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, the advice that I give to most people in that point, and I did a video of it for the One Body, One Mind with Jamie Lee, is I said it as a 2-week challenge, but it was basically, if you are going to go to massive supermarkets like that, then your goal is to just use the first couple of aisles. So you're only going around the fruit and the veg and the meat aisles, and then you get out. Anything else you need, you go elsewhere to places like Savers. So if you need your sanitary products, but you literally go down the first couple of aisles, get what you need and get out. Then you're less likely to go down the processed food aisles where you've got the crisps and stuff. So you're getting your essentials and that is it. Because if you don't put it in your house, yeah, but if you don't buy it, and if you don't put yourself in that vision of those aisles, you're not going to pick it up. And if you know, even if you did it for a week, how much less would you eat? Because if it's not in the house, and again, for anybody that eats junk food when they're watching the telly or when they unwind in the evening, if you haven't got it in the house, what do?
You used to go down the road, but you don't now.
See, that's a hard one, because if you're a family, you quite often have the things you don't want. You don't have to have them, but you tend to still have them in the house for other family members. So the crisps are still there, even though you don't necessarily, if you were living on your own, they wouldn't be in the house, but the crisps are still there, and the treats are still there because you still got kids. And that's the hard bit, because you sit there at night and you think, oh, I'm not going to have anything to eat, I'm going to have my glass of water, I'm just going to have this. And then you go to the cupboard and you think, no, I'll have an apple. And then you go in and then you see the crisps and the chocolates, and it's like, oh. And that's the really hard bit of going, no, I still will just have the apple, when everything is still there. That can be really, really challenging. I find that bit really hard.
And for me, with the behaviours and the habits, if you remember I said that it all comes from childhood. And then if we're doing that, then we're instilling behaviours in our kids. So for me, yeah, I've got kids here. I buy what I don't really like. Anything I do like, I hide so they don't eat it. But I make sure they've got better choices. So my cupboards have always got crisps in. They do eat a lot of crisps, but if I knew it was going to be a case of they're eating it when they really shouldn't be, or they're eating that and not eating good meals, I would eliminate it. But then you've also got to be aware that when we don't have those foods in the house, then our kids are going to seek it. So if they go to somebody else's house when they're allowed, and they see drawers and cupboards full of junk food, they're more likely to adopt binging behaviours because they don't get that at home. Yeah. So it is finding that balance. And there was somebody else in the last talk that I did. And again, we say we buy it for the kids, but are you really buying it for yourself? Because is that how you want your children to grow up, knowing that you should always have junk food in the house? Or should it be a case of, if you want it, we go to the shops and buy it? And we all go to the shop and buy it. Yeah. When lockdown's open, when we can all go into the supermarket. But that's what I do with mine. If my JJ's like a monster, he'll eat more food than me. He loves crisps. But if he wants it now, I'm like, well, you can go to the shop and you can buy it. And he's like, oh, I'm not good. Because I'm conscious that he's not doing the activity that he used to. Yeah. My boys used to be really active. They'd always be out playing football, but he's now putting on a little bit of weight. That is normal. He's not going to get overweight, but I'm seeing it. And I know he's going to have a growth spurt, but I'm responsible for my child. But I don't want him to become overweight or get it into his head that he can just eat shit food all day. I'm the one that's responsible to make sure I've got minimal junk food in the house. And if he does want it, then you've got to come out with me and go and get it. And I think this is something that a lot of parents don't actually think about, but we are the ones that are responsible for the behaviours and the beliefs that they're going to adopt and the actions that they're going to take and how they're going to reward themselves. So for me, it's kind of, well, we're to blame. You can't blame your kids. You can't then go, well, they ate loads of healthy food or cook my own meals, because even healthy foods you can eat too much of. Yeah. This is where the whole, what are you serving, is what are you eating, the portions. because most parents will actually fill up the kid's plate, and then when I was growing up, it was eat it all.
Oh God,
Because
yeah.
you can starve. So again, it's taking time to think about, well, why am I eating it all? No one's going to starve, and nobody's going to send it to fucking Africa, are they? Like, really? Like, my parents aren't going to package it up and send it to some starving kid in Africa. It's going to get thrown away. So it's eat it or it goes to waste. And then if I don't eat it, I'm going to starve.
Yeah, see, when I got married, I married into a family where there was 5 boys. So if you didn't eat your food really, really quickly, and I mean quickly, they would have it off your plate. You would sit there and they would literally lean over the table and they would take things off your plate. So before then, I was a really slow eater, and used to be, people would complain I was a really slow eater. But since then, it's now the complete opposite. And I can eat faster than anybody. I'd be brilliant in these food competitions because I can get a meal down me so quick, because it was that if I don't eat it, somebody's going to take it off my plate. And I'm one of these. I save my best bits till last. And maybe I shouldn't, but it's like habits, isn't it? So when you're eating your dinner, I'll eat the vegetables first, because I know that vegetables are really good for you, but cabbage and sprouts, they're really good, but they're boring. So if I eat that first, then I've got the reward of the meat and gravy last, or the nice, so you tend to eat, but then you feel that you've got to eat it all because you've left your favorite bit to last, and that's your favorite bit, isn't it? So I think it's, maybe a reverse of that, but then you'd never eat vegetables.
Yeah. Then it's kind of have a mouthful of your favourite bit, have a mouthful of your bits that you don't enjoy.
Yeah. So I think it's those habits are there that you don't even think about. Just, silly little habits.
Yeah.
But
It's the same as eating the crisps though as well. I was in the habit of I could annihilate a bag. When I started doing the mindful eating in the first lockdown, it was one of the first things that I started to focus on. I can't now eat a whole bag of crisps because I'm actually paying attention when I'm eating it, and I get full and I just don't want to eat anymore because it burns my mouth. So the big share bags, I'm normally eating about half and then I'll put it away. And the same with Ben and Jerry's. Now I can only eat, it's not even a quarter of the tub. And I would force myself to finish the whole tub. And normally you'd get to the bottom and you'd feel really sick. Now I'm just eating like the top bit, and then it's like, oh, I can't eat anymore. So it does work. And this is where eating slowly helps as well. But if you're focusing on what that food actually tastes like, so for Sue, the biscuits, if you each bite, oh, does that really taste nice?
Mine's because I keep the biscuit tin by the coffee machine.
And
If I move the biscuit tin and put a jug of water there as well, that should work, shouldn't it? It hasn't so far, but I think a lot of what we're talking about is during quiet time, whereas mine is during what should be productive time. So because I know we're all working from home now, but I run my business, and there are tasks within that I don't want to do, but they have to be done. And so the procrastination is one thing, a task I don't want to do, something that I have to do that I just it's not something I want to do. But I think what you mentioned about finding your productive time is really important as well, because if I do those tasks I don't want to do, or I think I need to do at the time when I'm least productive, that's the danger zone. So I'm going to be at the coffee machine all through the morning. I'm not getting the job done because I'm not productive at that time, or whenever. And so that becomes, just have a biscuit, just have a coffee, and a coffee goes with a biscuit. Whereas if I'm tackling these things when I'm actually mentally more productive, that is better. And I think from my point of view, I need to work out the order of my day. So I also spend, I don't stop work before maybe 7, 8 at night. Now that's then another danger zone, because I want to eat something quick. Quick is not the most healthy option, is it? So it is sort of managing your day and your times as well for me, I think.
Yeah, there is something. So when we talk about the productivity and time, If you do find yourself having those dips, there's something called BRAC. So this is the basic rest activity cycle. So the same way that our sleep cycle's got 90 minutes. So each block is 90-minute stages. The same is true for our wakeful activity cycle. You'll have a burst of energy and activity, and then we'll have a little dip. So this is where you start to feel tired, because again, our brains can only focus for a certain amount of time. And then you have to take yourself away and do something else. It doesn't mean like nap every 90 minutes. It just means stop doing your work, go and do something else. Go and put some washing on if you're working out at home. Go and clean the bathroom. Just take your brain away from that focused time. And then you're doing it again. But after so many cycles, the same as sleep, we'll have anything between 3 to 5 cycles a night. Same is true during the day. So you'll probably find that you have 3 cycles during the morning where your performance and your focus is optimal. And then it dips in the afternoon, probably because you're hungry and you need to eat something. So again, it's look at what you're doing during those rests. Are you eating nutritious food that can keep you sustained for longer? Have you hit a wall of fatigue? Therefore, be a nap queen like me. 20 minutes, just switch off. Doesn't mean fall asleep. Set a timer, listen to something where you can just allow your brain to do nothing. And then you're probably going to have another 1 or 2 activity cycles in the afternoon. So again, it may be that you're more able to focus on the high attention tasks through those first 2 or 3 cycles in the morning. Then you need to have something to eat, go for a walk, have a little nap, then do the tasks that you really don't enjoy, because you'll be able to put minimal effort onto those. But again, it comes down to trial and error. It's a case of, right, when are you like really hyper focused and you can really put all your energy, you can not have any distractions. You're almost in like what they call like a flow state. There is actually no such thing, but you just find that you can zone out and you can get hours and hours of work done. You can like finish major tasks or whatever. That would be when you want to do your most difficult stuff, which does require a lot of time and effort and energy from you. And then look at doing email responses in the afternoon, or your little, you know, job descriptions, or writing posts for social media or LinkedIn or whatever you need to do. It's do those mundane tasks when you don't really need to put all that energy into it. But it is a really interesting kind of topic, but you have to figure out for yourself. And it does come down to tracking and keeping a journal, and then finding that pattern, and then saying, right, at these times I need to just remove myself, go and have a cup of coffee and a couple of biscuits, have a nice little meal. And then when it comes to the quick meals in the evenings, there's so much that you can buy now in the supermarkets where you can just bang it in the oven. That's a good meal. You get your protein, you get packs of veggies, it's all done for you. So if time is an issue and you don't want to prep it yourself, we don't need to make it complicated. You don't need to be cooking fancy meals from recipe books. It's make it easy. As long as it's filling you up and you're getting what you need, it should work in your favour. But
we've actually tried turning our day around. So because we're both working from home, we're having our cooked meal at lunchtime. So in the evening, it's more snack things, which actually it's better from the point of view that you don't, you know, I'm not going to bed stuffed, but at the same time, I'm not going for, you know, I'm not making things that would be a healthy snack. I'm going for the currant buns or the, you know.
As long as you're enjoying it, Sue. You can have your covered bun and a cup of coffee in the evening.
With a thumbful of butter.
Yeah, and the rest. More fingers. No, it's
yeah. It's been really interesting, Dee. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks,
Thank
Dee.
you.
Thanks, Dee.
Any questions though, just ask later and I'll put whatever information I can. As I said, I'll put this in the groups. But yeah, just let me know.
Thank
Good
you.
to see
Bye
you,
all.
Sarah. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.